Okay, I think we're going live. I think we're live now. So, I want to thank everybody out there for joining me. It's always appreciated. Just trying to adjust a microphone here. There we go. The mic usually ends up dropping on me. This is, of course, delayed. It's telling me users are going to experience buffering. Let's see what's wrong there. Of course, this wouldn't be an Armin's Tech Talk stream without some settings issues. Video 1. Okay. The streaming should be good. Oh, I know what the problem is. I know exactly what the problem is. I still have a certain program kicking around. So that might fix my problem. Oh, we got one concurrent viewer in the chat. Hey, Monica. How are you doing tonight? Yeah, I'm trying to figure that out right now. I'm not sure what is going on. Good. Good. I'm glad. This is still saying I'm buffering. I thought I shut. Well, it's the only thing I can think of. I can shut most of this other stuff down that's sucking up bandwidth. It still says I am not doing well here. I'm trying to shut off everything on my end that is going to cause me to have problems. Still saying this is poor. Now they're saying 9,500, so let me change it to that. Hey, mates, welcome. So, no. So, I had scheduled 2 separate streams. That's what happened. The second stream is Saturday at 1 p.m. The second stream is going to revolve around games, where this one is going to revolve around tech hardware, more PC stuff, more enterprise stuff. There is going to be a lot of consumer-facing stuff this week as I get into that, and I'm going to get into that in just a second. I'm just trying to iron out the technical problems that are going on here. That's what I'm trying to do to ensure that everything is A-okay, as it were. So I'm really not sure what YouTube is doing at the moment. $7.28. So is this video really lagging for you guys? Hey Taz, yeah, no, there's 2 shows a week. There's gonna be a show on Thursday nights, which is BYTE This, and then there's gonna be a show on Saturday afternoon, which I like to call Pushing Polygons. I can't wait to actually unveil the video for that stuff, so I can actually really kind of market that a little bit better. Not anymore. Monica, are you saying that the video is not good now? Okay, I don't seem to be having problems with me, but I'm running at, on my end, I see 360. I don't know. YouTube just does its thing. I'm really not sure. Really not sure what's going on. No more lag. Okay. So I'm just gonna continue on, because if you guys are having problems, just let me know, and I'll work on it and see what I can do to fix it. I don't know. I've played with some settings in OBS, and I don't know, that didn't seem to be working all too well, but we'll just play with it as we go along, and we'll go from there. So, for you guys in the chat, we're doing 2 episodes a week. We're doing BYTE This, which is hardware-based technical talk. So your Apple stuff, your Microsoft stuff, which might be outside of Xbox, although there's going to be a little Xbox talk today because it's more development focused, and your Nvidia AMD stuff. Whereas when we get into pushing polygons is going to be my game-centric podcast. It's going to be the podcast that I use to really talk about a lot of gaming information. So your Xbox 360 or your Xbox Series X, your PS5, Nvidia, boo. Boo? Yeah, okay. I mean, some people feel that way about Nvidia. So basically your updates with the consoles, what's new with the consoles, and we do actually have some, hey, YouTube finally said I'm streaming a good stream. Well, hot damn. So we're going to concentrate on that on Saturday, and I'm looking forward to that. And I may, these are going to run about an hour and a half. I really don't have any intention, unless there's a lot of discussion in the chat, to run them any longer than that. So that's kind of where we're headed. We'll have, again, 2 shows a week, Thursday nights, 7:15, and then Saturdays at 1. So whether your interest is in general hardware or your interest is in games, whether they're retro or current, join me then. Those are the times. But with that being said, let's get into our first topic, which is going to be Apple. So Apple this week ended up having their Jump into Spring event, which was full of colors and full of interesting items that some out there might say were a little bit lackluster, but I know there was some enjoyment. So let's start with we're gonna start small. We're gonna go from the insignificant updates that Apple has made to pretty much their what I would call their bomb drop. So we're going to start with the iPhone 12. Monica, woo, if you like this stream, subscribe and smash that like button. Thank you, Monica. Yes, I appreciate that. Guys, I really would appreciate you guys hitting that like button. It helps me a ton. It gets these videos noticed. I really would appreciate if you would do that. So if you're unsure what the like button is, of course, it's that little button that has the thumbs up. So Apple had their event, and the first thing that I really think, again, the small thing, was Apple added a new color to the iPhone 12 and the iPhone 12 mini. You can now get the phone, or the phones, in what I would call this frosty purple color. It's nice looking, not personally for me, although it's a lot brighter than I think the aquatic blue color is for the iPhone Pro Max 12. But of course Apple also matches the aluminum on the sides. So the phone, it's as I said, it looks a little frosty, but it's a nice kind of lightish frosty purple color. I wouldn't call it a pure purple, but I know some people out there really enjoy that. But that is a new color option, if you will, if you haven't picked up an iPhone 12 as of yet. Next thing that Apple announced, which I find this one actually a bit more interesting and actually a lot more significant, is Apple announced AirTags. Now, AirTags, what's that? AirTags is a device which allows you to find, using Find My app in your iPhone or your iOS device, it allows you to find items in your house. So it can be put on a keychain. Always missing your keys, put an AirTag on your keychain, and your iPhone can lead you to your keys. stick one in your wallet, and the iPhone will be able to lead you to your wallet wherever you have left it. AirTags, for those things that you really want to find or you don't want to lose, is going to be really helpful in helping you keep track of items. I mean, there are games out there that I might not want to lose. So depending upon actually and how big a AirTag is by itself, maybe I could stick it inside of a box or inside of a case or on top of something, which will allow me to keep track of my things. I already know I'm going to at least buy one of these to put on my keys, possibly a pack of 4, so I can at least put one in my wallet and one on my keychain. Now, pricing for these, $99.99 for a 4-pack, and I believe it is $29.99 for a single AirTag. I think this is actually really beneficial for Apple. This really adds to their accessories lineup, and I think this might actually be, at least in the beginning, a really good seller for them. So I think Apple, in their accessories department, now you've had AirPods, you've had AirPods Pro, now you've got AirTags, you've got AirPods Max, which are their over-the-ear headphones that Apple puts out. I'm really kind of excited where the company is going with that. And now, mind you, I am not, now, full disclosure, I do own stock in Apple. That's full disclosure. But I'm not a huge fan of everything they do. I have an iPhone, I have an iPad. I don't own an iMac. I have no intention on owning an iMac. I don't think that some of the things that they've done with the iPhone are great. I miss Touch ID, but that's me. So even if I own stock in something, I do try to keep my opinions fairly level on this. So AirTags is something I would use, and that's really what it boils down for me, is would I use it, and do I think it's going to improve my life? When the iPhone 10 came out, I wasn't impressed. I didn't upgrade. I stayed on an iPhone 8 for years. So, Taz, what are you saying? That is why Mapes won't get apples. Why won't Mapes not get apples? Let's see. Zudis, this will be used mostly as a cheap device to track your cheating significant other. Ooh, wow. Your cheating significant other. I didn't really think too much about that. Not something that I would do. Why do you need to put AirTags on them? You've already got the GPS in the car. Oh, Farmer Taz, tracking. Yeah, no, there's some tracking. Of course, there's some tracking. But you already carry your phone around with you, so you're already being tracked if you really think about it. So, moving on to the next thing that they announced is we had the iPad Pro. I don't think there's a number on it, but the iPad Pro 2021, and they're updating the iPad Pro. Again, going to be in 11-inch and 12.9 inches. So the big pros, the difference this time out is the Pro is going to come up to 2 terabytes, and at least that's one of the big differences. But there's a little difference that Apple is not talking about, and that difference is that the iPad Pro is going to come equipped with up to 16 gigs of RAM. That's a lot of RAM for a tablet device. Maybe something you would use as a professional. Definitely not something you would need as a casual user, unless Apple has ambitions to put some really hardcore graphical games on that. But most of that is going to end up being streamed through Game Pass more on that this Saturday. But the 16 gigs on the iPad Pro 12, or the iPad Pro 12, the iPad Pro 2021 is that the 16 gigs is going to be limited to the 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte models, and 1 terabyte is going to start you and set you back $17.99. So that's a hefty price. You are also have models at 128 gigs, 256 gigs, and 512 gigs. Those will start at $10.99, and you know, it looks like a really good device, especially when you're considering the upgraded screen, which is, again, 12.9 inches. It's got 10,000 mini LEDs. Whether those were developed by Apple or not, that's another question, because mini LED is a new technology that has been released by other companies. And it's going to have up to 2,500 local dimming zones and support HDR. So if you want to watch an HDR movie on the go through the Apple service, you now really can with this device. It is going to be capable of 1,000 nits brightness, full white screen, and up to a peak of 1,600 eye-searing 1,600 nits. I mean, that is going to make your specular highlights really speckle, if you know what I mean. Let's see here. We've got Monica saying, I'd get the new iMac, but I'm a designer. Ha ha ha. It's nice. I mean, yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit about the iMac here in a few minutes. Farmer Taz, do not say that, Armand. Now Mapes will throw away the flip phone. Oh, that's terrible. Zudis, you're saying just like a bank account, the other may not allow access to the car. GPS. Slip it in her purse and you're good to go. Oh, wow. Wow. I mean, that's taken a little bit. That's taken a little bit far, but I see where you're headed with that one. I have a crazy lot here in the chat tonight, and so. With the iPad Pro 21, you are also, if you're a designer or you enjoy drawing, you're going to have access to high-speed storage with a Thunderbolt 3 port on it, which is also in a USB-C type configuration, where you can hitch the iPad Pro up to a Apple external monitor. Unfortunately, it will not work with the iMac. So I think it's a great upgrade. I don't know if it's something that's going to get wide adoption. Again, it is meant a little bit more for the professional market, but it is something that is interesting, and Apple is allowing for quite a few configurations. Again, unfortunately, for that 12.9-inch model, your starting price tag is $10.99, so it's not exactly a impulse buy. But the largest item that Apple announced for their Jump into Spring event was the iMac. Now, the iMac is stepping forward, but in a way it's stepping back. Yes, it's a new thin LCD panel, but using the XDR technology, but by stepping backwards, I mean Apple is reintroducing the colors to the iMac. So think back to the late 90s and the iMacs of old, where they had the colored shell on the back of the CRT monitor. It really allowed you to customize your device for your own personality. Now, the iMac is going to come in blue, silver. And this is the base model. It's going to be blue, silver. It's going to be, let's see here. I actually have this written down so I did not forget, because I have, without my notes, I have forgotten. Let's see here. Base model is going to be green, silver, blue, and pink. So green, silver, blue, pink for the base model. That's going to start at $12.99. We'll get into specs on those in just a minute. Additional colors for the higher end models are yellow, orange, and purple. So you're not going to be able to get purple, orange, or yellow at the $12.99 model. You have to step up at least to the $14.99 model to get access to that. Across the board, you are looking at a 8-core CPU. The base model has 7 cores on the GPU. The step-up model and the advanced model have 8 cores on the GPU. And then all systems have a 16-core neural processor to help out with different actions and keep power lower, I guess. There's going to be a front-facing 1080p FaceTime camera on the device, and you're looking at only USB-C/Thunderbolt as your connectivity on the back of the device. One other interesting note I was looking at when I saw the tech specs this evening was the fact that the step-up models on their power adapter are going to include gigabit Ethernet connectors. It looks like that the base model is not going to have that connection, as it is not listed on the technical specification sheet. So that might be something to be aware of, is on that base model that you may be limited to Wi-Fi only. So also on the step-up model, you are going to be eligible to get up to 2 terabytes of storage internal. You're going to be limited, of course, again, on the base model. This is a little problem with Apple. They do tend to gate you, to force you into higher margin devices for your storage. So there's a little trade-off there, and I do think that they sometimes overcharge for their storage. But with the way parts have been over the last year, that may not be for long, as there is also a discussion of RAM prices increasing dramatically over the next year, but we'll talk more about that next week. Let's go back to the chat here real quickly. Monica is saying, I get the new iMac, but I'm a designer. Okay, I did read that. So let's see. Let's jump down here. Mapes is saying, man, I miss the flip phones. Yeah, no, the flip phones were they were interesting devices. Guess what, Mapes? Some companies still make a flip phone. They still exist. They're called feature phones, but they are out there. Monica is saying, yes, rainbow of colors. Yes, it is the rainbow of colors from Apple. And I wouldn't be surprised if Apple didn't actually release more colors in the future. I know some people out there with the new iMac, they are complaining that the screen isn't big enough. The new iMac, of course, is only coming in 24 inches. It's the only option out there. There may be another device at an event maybe in the fall that hopefully will come in at 27 inches. There's nothing confirmed at this time, but I would assume that Apple would eyeball that at some point to refresh those larger models. Right now, they are probably rolling out devices at a slower pace, especially with the silicon and the troubles that have been had due to the global storage that we talked about last week with semiconductors. And so Apple, I think, is probably making the smart move by doing this and not running themselves into an Nvidia type problem. Let's see. Farmer Taz. He has a few fakes. Oh, he has a few fakes. See, when he streams as Doc Disrespect. Wait, Mapes. Oh gosh, Mapes has a few fake flip phones. I thought that was a legit phone. That's funny, Mapes. That's actually really funny. So we have Apple. We have Apple out there, doing their thing, releasing their devices. Yeah, they're going on at a slightly slower pace than many of us may like, but they are plodding forward. They're doing their thing. Tim Cook, he was the guy who took over for Steve Jobs. Tim Cook has been more of the supply chain guru, if you will. At least that's what Steve Jobs called him when he was grooming Cook to be his successor. And so during the global catastrophe in which we have all experienced, Tim Cook, to continue to get products out the door, is probably, most likely, the guy for the job. Whether I like him or not is irrelevant. He does have the experience, and I think he is the right person to be manning the ship for Apple at this point, considering the fact that there are shortages and supply chain constraints. So that is the Apple news for this week. This is the products that Apple has coming here very shortly. It's definitely, I think, worthwhile. AirTags is definitely something I would pick up. Even though I think I would be interested in trying an iMac, it's not something I would pick up for myself personally. Zudis. When you win the 1993 and 1994 Blockbuster Video Game Championship, you can own multiple flip phones. Wait, whoa, what? Wait. Dr. Disrespect won the Blockbuster Video Game Championship? I did not know this. Is this true? Somebody's going to talk to me on this. So, with that being said, the next topic I want to talk about here is... actually, that wasn't the last thing for Apple. There is one more thing for Apple. I actually kind of forgot about this, and I was going to talk about this before I touched on the iMac and iPad Pro, but I guess this will leave our Apple discussion with a whimper. If you haven't invested in a Apple 4K TV yet, Apple's got a new offering for you. They have updated Apple TV device with a new chip. It's not the newest chip that they got, but it's a newer chip than what was in the previous 4K version. It's the ARM A12. So Apple's updated it there. They're going to add HDMI 2.1 to it to support 120 hertz. On televisions, although that is going to come in a firmware update later. It's not going to be baked into the software right off, which may or may not be a mistake. Really, and it is a mistake if you're into gaming. It's not a mistake if you're just watching videos, because videos, unless you're watching a video from an iPhone, don't really do 120 hertz. I guess I'm going to say it's not a mistake due to the fact that, yeah, there's Apple Arcade, and yeah, you can play some advanced games on Apple devices, but Apple's concentration isn't really on Apple Arcade. That's ancillary subscription income. It's not a priority for them. I mean, that's evident by the fact that they make other vendors' controllers compatible with the Apple television, and they don't make their own, where there's been rumors that Apple would make their own controller for years and years and years. And there's even been people that said that they've had hands-on with an Apple prototype video game controller, but the company just doesn't seem to want to take that dive, and they seem to be happier with ported games or games that are more mobile quality. Again, Game Pass is coming to iOS devices, but again, we're gonna touch more on that on Saturday in the Pushing Polygons podcast. So, Apple 4K TV, you get two memory options, 32 gigs, 64 gigs, and it's priced at $179 and $199 respectively. So, not a huge blow your mind upgrade there, but there's really probably not much that they really needed to do to the device anyway. So the only thing I could really think that was a slight disappointment on this side of things is the fact that they didn't use a slightly newer chip, an A13 or an A14. But I don't know, maybe they're waiting because Apple has a 2-year cycle that they want to update all their devices to well, they say Apple Silicon, where technically this is Apple Silicon, so maybe this wouldn't be in the roadmap, but I would expect everything within the next 18 months to be on the M1 chip. So I can't see when they do the next Apple TV, whatever they call that, I don't see that device going to an A14. I don't see them doing that jump, because at that point the A14 would be quite old, and I guess it would depend if they really want to proliferate 8K. So that'll be the question there. Let's go back to the chat here for a moment, and let's see. Farmer Taz, Mr. Back to Back. Oh, talking about, of course, Dr. Disrespect, I believe. Yes, playing NBA Jam as Gary Payton. What? Lots of shimmy and shakes. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, yo. Whoa, whoa. Keep those fiery things right where they are. So that is the Apple news for this week, and we're going to move on to our next topic, which is Nvidia. So we got two stories out of Nvidia this week. So the first one is kind of a follow-up to last week's story where we were talking about the Nvidia acquisition of ARM. And being that ARM is based in the United Kingdom, the Nvidia acquisition has triggered the UK Parliament, the UK government, to do a national security investigation of this acquisition to see if it poses a threat to the interests of the British citizens. ARM, of course, being owned by a Japanese bank, and Nvidia being an American company, which does like to sell lots of products to China. There is definitely some concerns that have been raised. Nvidia has promised the British government that it would enter into agreements that would protect the British national security and not change up the ARM model of selling things. But even in the last several years under the previous U.S. administration, and even continuing into the current one, relations have been frosty with the Chinese government. And so because of that, there are really concerns about Nvidia selling advanced chips to the Chinese companies. Of course, China, the companies like Huawei, aren't really fond of this acquisition going through because they get a lot of their processors from ARM. So right now there's a lot of international spotlight that is focused on this deal. And if Nvidia reaches in and does these agreements with the UK government, there's a possibility the UK government could sign off on it. But I think that you would see a lot of uproar in the technology community. This might only make relations even frostier between the United States and China, as ARM is quite the supplier to a lot of their technology companies, being that ARM was a Japanese owned technology firm. So it didn't apply to US laws and rules, where once Nvidia owned the company, it would. Let's see here. Stepping back into the chat for just a moment. Let's see here. Do I not remember NBA Jam? Oh, no, I remember NBA Jam. I remember NBA Jam very well. I played most of my NBA Jam on a Sega Game Gear. Let's see here. Goodness gracious, great balls. Are you Jerry Lee Lewis, Mapes? I think he got that in one of his bundles. Okay. I'm not sure what you're talking about there, buddy. Can't remember because I've bought more than I've bought north of 100 games. Dude, I've got way north of 100 games. And you know what? I remember them all. If I've played it, chances are I remember it. I'm really good in that category. So, what do you guys think? Do you think Nvidia actually should own ARM? Do you think it is something that... Okay, that's not important. Do you think that it's something that we should be concerned about? I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on that. Or is Nvidia wasting their money? So let's move on to our next Nvidia topic. And that is going to be the release, or the imminent announcement and hopefully release, of the Nvidia 3080 Ti. This is Nvidia's next graphics card. It's still in the Ampere family. It is basically the next step down from the Halo product. The 3080 Ti specs rumored to have leaked. We're looking at 12 gigs of GDDR6 at 19 gigabits a second. We're looking at a 384-bit bus, 10,240 CUDA cores. So, in comparison to a 3090, which is at the Founders Edition, a $1,500 card, if you can find one for retail, because scalpers, you have a card that is most likely going to be 97 to 99% of the performance of that 3090. Usually between the Halo card, the Titan card is what they've called it previously, and the 80 Ti card, there isn't much of a difference. So it's going to be very interesting, because the 3090 isn't a Titan, because it is supposed to sit at the top of the stack, how much of a difference there is between those two cards. Now, mind you, the Ti is supposed to be a step above the 3080, so it really has to fit into that middle ground. But I think it's going to lean more toward the 3090 performance metric than it is going to be toward the 3080, and it's probably going to be priced somewhere in between. Now, rumors suggest, and I don't think these are true, rumors suggest that the card is going to come out for $999. I don't think that's true. I think the card is going to be a little higher than that. I think we are looking anywhere between $1099 and $1199. Again, you're looking at 12 gigs of GDDR6X, so the fastest graphics RAM that is out on the market today. You are looking at one of the largest chips that Nvidia makes for their GPUs currently. So I definitely think it's going to skew toward the higher end. It is going to be a few $100 off compared to a 3090. Again, you run into that Nvidia problem. They've got a lot of products out. How much availability is there actually going to be? Most likely it's not going to look good. There's probably going to be a lot of issues there, although there is talk that they're going to end up having a limiter on the card so that you're going to be able to get that gaming performance, but the card may not perform as expected in mining. Depends if the 3060 or 3060 Ti limiter was actually hacked. I think I saw that it was, so maybe Nvidia is doing some changes there. It's going to be interesting to see how they address that going forward. Stepping back into the chat here real quickly. Let's see what we got. Pump fake. Yeah. Maybe Nvidia is doing a pump fake. I know that's not what you're referring to, but maybe they are. All this NBA Jam slang. I just got shook. I'm not even sure about this chat anymore. So that's what we got going for NVIDIA's GPUs. Is there anybody in the chat out there that would like to get their hands on a 3080 Ti? What do you guys think about it? What do you think the price is going to be? Put your thoughts in the comments. And so we're going to move on to the next topic here real quickly, and that is of Microsoft's new Agility SDK. So this is a little bit about games. So, and there's really two articles. I'm going to combine them here really for the convenience of time. And that is the discussion of the SDK of there's actually, I guess, three discussions here. There is the Agility SDK, there's AMD's FidelityFX, and then there is Microsoft's Direct Storage API. So Microsoft had an event, Games Stack is what they called it this week. And the reason why we're discussing this here and not in games is because this is really more development side. So SDI, or the direct storage, is going to be compatible with your NVMe 3.0 drive. It's basically going to allow the drive quicker access to the CPU, or the CPU to not have to throw so many resources at the NVMe to load it and get it so that it's up and running. This is in hopes of allowing for quicker loading times when it comes to your games, to get the system to act more like an Xbox Series X with its quick loading and its quick resume. So bundling that with their Agility SDK, which is going to help with the development of games, And what the SDK does is it allows for game developers to finally say, okay, here is a new complete baseline of computers that can accept the DirectX 12 Ultimate standard. These are the features that we can put into at a certain operating system level, because you've had people that are on Windows 7, you got people that are on Windows 8, you got people that are on Windows 10, like, I don't know, 807, I don't know, the what's like from some of their earliest builds, or 1907, or 2021 first half. I mean, there's all these different builds out there because Microsoft has done these quick iterations on the operating system because they wanted a more agile developing environment. But by doing so, they split the user base. Yeah, we're all on Windows 10, but we're not on the same version of Windows 10. Where, when you went back to, say, Windows 98, it was Windows 98, Windows 98 Service Pack 1, Windows 98 Service Pack 2, and that was it. You had to have at least one of those levels to run a game that was on Windows 98. And because of that, or because of what they've done with Windows 10, developers have shied away from implementing a lot of DX12 options because they haven't been able to count on a definitive amount of people having the minimum operating system specification to say, okay, there's enough people that can run this. Let's go ahead. Let's implement the technology and let's do this thing. Well, the Agility SDK finally says, okay, anybody who has Windows 10, I believe it's 1907, anybody who has that and up can run Ultimate. We've made some of these features, I guess you could say, backwards compatible in some sort of way, even though you're on the same OS. But they've brought them back to a certain OS level to say, okay, this is a critical percentage of people that have upgraded to this, and you can go ahead and do that. So, because even the adoption of DX12 as a general thing has been slow. I think it's picked up more since the new consoles have been coming, but in general, DX12 has been slow. Most games ran on DX11. Now that Microsoft has done this with their SDK, and that there is a critical mass of people that are eligible to run Windows 12 Ultimate, I actually think that you're going to see more DX12 games hit the market, and hit the market in mass. So we're going to stop for a second. We're going to jump back here into the chat. And guys, please, if you are in the chat, we've got 5 people here. I see that only 2 people have liked this video so far. I really appreciate it if you would hit that like button. And of course, if you haven't already subscribed, do that. And I know a lot of you have hit the notification button. I'm not sure what's going on, as a lot of you have said that you thought the stream was on Saturday. Let's see. Let's step back in here. Taz, can the new Nvidia future match Zudis Supreme setup? Maybe. Possible. $9,999.99. Yeah, I don't think it's gonna be that expensive. I was expecting lower than $1,500 on that card. Windows 10.02 now. Yeah, second half of 21 or 20. I don't think the spring update has come out yet. Zudis, need one of these fancy, unattainable cards for my setup. Yes, sir. Yes, you do. You've got so many cards already. I don't even know what you got anymore. But yes, you need another one. You always need another one. You can't ever have enough. Even if you get one, you need more. What are you doing? Farmer Taz, Spears tap the like button. Is Spears even here? Monica's saying smash the like button. Nate Mapes, boom shakalaka. Yes, if you tap that button, I will say that with emphasis over the microphone. If you hit that like button, I will give you a emphasis boom shakalaka. So, getting back to the topic at hand. Oh, I see an additional like. So, boom shakalaka. So with being able to put these features in and with the SDK, thank you, Mapes. I did give you a boom shakalaka. I gave you one of those. In fact, I'll do it again. A boom shakalaka. So with Microsoft doing all of these features for their cards, the next step for them is going to be because they have AMD. AMD is in these systems, whether it's the Series S or it's the Series X. AMD is on board. So on the PC side of things, AMD with their Radeon drivers has had AMD's FidelityFX, which is a bunch of different features, such as ray tracing, such as overclocking. FidelityFX does a bunch of different things with the CPU and the graphics unit that wouldn't be allowed otherwise. But with AMD's FidelityFX being included in the Agility SDK, the big thing that everybody is talking about is it is laying the groundwork for AMD to add their DLSS-like, what's the word I'm looking for? Super sampling technology to the Xbox Series systems. DLSS is an Nvidia technology which allows for AI upsampling of an image. It is very sharp. It is very efficient. It allows for the system to render a game at a lower resolution and then for the system to then upscale it before it outputs it to a display device. By doing that, it allows for additional performance in the games, and because a lot of the algorithms are being done by supercomputers in the background and the information being fed to the CPU and the GPU via firmware update or driver update, if you will, then the CPU is already having the technology on board to say, okay, this is the image. I know what I'm supposed to do with this, and let's just do it. So your CPU in your house isn't the one that's doing the AI learning. It's some computer thousands of miles away doing it, and then it's just telling its baby brother to on how to process everything. So we could actually, if this technology is pushed into the SDK, it's pushed into the Xbox OS, we could actually be looking at a significant increase in frame rates and in performance and in sharpness at 4K. This is where I find the most benefit, of course, for this. There is, of course, additional benefit at lower resolutions. Excuse me. There's benefit at lower resolutions, but I find that the largest benefit would be at 4K. So with a DLSS on board, you might actually be able to push some of these games that are still limited at 4K 60 up to, especially as the games get newer and newer, you might actually be able to push them to 4K 120. But I think really where the benefit in a DLSS lies, or DLSS-like solution lies, is as the games advance over the course of a generation, usually what we see is frame rates drop. Usually fidelity increases, whether it's textures, whether it's visual effects, but usually frame rate takes a real dump because of the sacrifices that developers are willing to make to get these new effects on screen. So DLSS or DLSS-like solution, whatever AMD is going to call it, is really a forward-facing, proactive solution to what eventually will become a problem for these systems. Now, of course, I could be wrong, and we could get a mid-cycle refresh, which would, of course, eliminate that problem anyway. But I think that they would implement this. If they do really implement this, I think it's really another piece of evidence to go to show that we are not going to get a mid-cycle refresh this time. We are going to have the same consoles from launch of last September or last November through, I don't know, 4 years from now, 5 years from now, 7 years from now. We really probably will keep these consoles for a very long time, and this is how they are going to keep the console relevant until we get to the next generation. So let's jump back into the chat here really quickly. And let's see. I did, so do it. Thank God. Oh, I heard it. I'm glad you like that. Wow, with authority. Got a jet. Peace. Good night, Mapes. I hope you have a good evening. Farmer Taz, enjoy the fishing. Oh, Mapes is going fishing. Good for Mapes. What a guy. So, let me see here. I don't think. Let's see. We touched on everything that I have for this week. So let me go to the chat. Is there any questions out there that you guys have burning that you want answered, since you guys were talking about fire this week? Okay. Well, I'm not sure how far behind the video is here. Next food review. Oh, the next food review. That's really tough to say. I mean, okay, next food review. It's still going to be based on chicken. But I think this might be a 2-person review if we do this. Wings Over. There is one in the area down here, and it's been closed for some time due to various reasons. when they open up on the 30th, if they open up on the 30th, maybe I'll get some boneless wings from the Wings Over, especially now that they've rebranded. They also have a new chicken sandwich like everybody else. So maybe it'll be some boneless wing review from them. And there's maybe a round 2 of the chicken sandwich wars take, where next time it would be the new sandwich from Wings Over versus Burger King, because Burger King also has a new chicken sandwich. And let's see, I'm trying to think what we did last time. We did McDonald's, we did Chick-fil-A, and I think we did Popeyes. So it'd be KFC, Burger King, and Wings Over. That's what we would do. From the Kubis studio. I would prefer to call this the penthouse studios from our nation's capital. Is there any other questions out there this evening, which I can answer for anyone? Well, thanks, Monica. Well, guys, I think that's going to be it for this evening, as I don't see anything else, and we have been doing this for about an hour. We have 3 likes, so if you enjoyed this video this evening, please go ahead, hit that like button. It really helps the channel out, and I really appreciate it. Otherwise, I hope you have a great evening, and I look forward to seeing you guys on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for Pushing Polygons, a